Hi, welcome back to your Math Resource Showcase. I'm Amber Soto, and we are going to continue our week of coding. The resource I'm going to introduce you today is probably a resource you're quite familiar with, but maybe have never thought of it as a coding resource. So we're going to go to khanacademy.org. That's K-H-A-N. A lot of people flip the A and the H. It's K-H-A-N, A-C-A-D-E-M-Y.org. And you'll see on the far left side here, they have a courses button with a drop-down arrow. Let's go ahead and click on that. And you'll see there's so many courses for math. And I think that's why it's sometimes known as a math support website. But you can see here, it's not just math. There's science and engineering, arts and humanities, test prep, college careers and more, ELA beta, economics and finance, Kids, and then finally computing, which is the one we're going to play with today. So go ahead and go under computing and go to Hour of Code and click. And then click the button that says Start Coding Now. And you'll see they already have a Welcome to 1 Hour of Code video for us to sit and watch. So let's watch it together.
Hey, I'm Pamela from the Khan Academy team. So you're here for Hour of Code, right? That's awesome. I can still remember my first hour of coding when I was a little kid, and now I'm on my 10,000th hour of coding, and it's still really, really fun. There are tons of ways to learn to code, and there's so many things you can do with code, like making games if you like Pac-Man or Angry Birds or Minecraft. Or if you like science, you can use programming to visualize the way the universe works and help other people understand it better. If you like medicine, you could help doctors understand what's going inside the human body because it's really crazy. You could make robots like self-driving cars. You could analyze data. You could make websites like Khan Academy. There's so much you can do. Here on Khan Academy, you'll spend your hour of code learning to make computer-generated drawings. We can't cover that much in so little time, but we hope you'll get excited by your first taste of code and want to go deeper. Here's what you'll do in the next hour. First, you'll watch these interactive talk-throughs. They're kind of like videos where we write code and we talk while we're writing it, and you can see the result of the code on the right side. And you can pause it just like a video, but even better than a video, you can actually edit the code that we've written and see what happens when you change it. And then you can turn it back on when you want to keep going. Now remember there's audio, so make sure you have speakers or headphones on when you're watching these. Next, you'll do a coding challenge. This is how you practice what you just learned and earn points for completing it, going through each of the steps until you get them done. Try to get through each challenge to the end, but if you don't and you're getting frustrated, don't worry. Just keep going to the next talk through. Finally, at the end, you'll do a more free-form creative project where there's no right answer, and the point is just to have fun while using what you've learned. And hey, if this takes you longer than an hour, that's totally okay with us. Here at Khan Academy, we believe that everybody should learn at their own pace. We'll always be here for you to keep learning, no matter how long it takes. Ready to get started? Let's have a coding party! Woo!
All right, and you can see they're going to pop us right into the up next, learning coding on Khan Academy. So we're going to let that come out. This one's actually going to be a doc, so let's read it together. It says, here's a quick rundown of how you can learn coding on Khan Academy. Learn new concepts using a talk-through, which is like a video but more interactive. Do step-by-step challenges to practice newly learned concepts. Finally, work on a project where you can get more practice and be more creative with the skills you've learned. You don't need to download anything because the coding editor is embedded right here on the website. You'll see it used in the talk-through and use it yourself in the challenge. Now it's time for the first talk-through. Just click on the next link in the sidebar. So we come over here to the left side and we click Make Drawings with Code. And then we're going to get rid of this little guy here and we're just going to click Play.
Let's begin programming by making a face with circles. To draw a circle, we need to use the ellipse command. So I'll type ellipse in this editor. After I write a command name in a program, I always follow it with parentheses and a semicolon. But I don't see an ellipse. The right side is still that boring white canvas.
Well, there's no ellipse yet because I need to give more information about where to draw the ellipse and what size it should be. Since I am drawing a face, I want this ellipse to be smack in the center of the canvas and pretty big. I'll type 4 numbers in that'll make that happen, and we'll explore why they work. Ta-da! A face. Okay, so this first number, what does it control? I can change it by clicking on it and using the number scrubber that pops up. Watch, it's moving across the canvas. So this number controls how far the ellipse is from the left side of the canvas. What about the second number? If I change this, the ellipse moves up and down the canvas. Okay, on to the third number. Changing this makes the ellipse wider and thinner. All right, nice. Finally, the fourth. What else can we change? The height, making ellipse taller and shorter, kind of squishy. Let's make it taller again. Okay, now you know what all of our numbers do. The first two control the position of the ellipse, and the second two control the size of the ellipse. We call these numbers the parameters to the ellipse command. And actually, we usually call a command a function. So here in our program, we're calling the ellipse function and passing it 4 parameters to change how it draws the ellipse. When we describe the parameters of a function, we usually give them nicknames so that we don't have to say first and second. Let's go through the nicknames for these parameters. This first parameter, remember that it controls this. We call this parameter x because we think of x as the direction that goes across the canvas, like I'm showing here. It starts at 0 and ends at 400. So that's our x. The second parameter, we call it y because it controls this direction, and we think of y as the direction that goes down the canvas. That's y. And it also starts at 0 up here in the corner and goes to 400 down at the bottom. So that's x and y. We call the third parameter width because it controls the width. And the fourth parameter we call height. Okay, so now we understand what our code is doing and why it's doing that. Let's write some more code. Well, we have a face. It needs a mouth so they can eat things. I'll make a mouth by typing a second ellipse underneath. I'm going to use the same x as the one before it because I want it to be in the center of the face, but I do want it lower down on the face. So I'll try 250 for the y. For the size, I want it smaller than the face. Let me try 110. Whew, okay, it's a little too small. I'm just gonna widen that up a bit. All right. Next, we need eyes because a face without eyes is pretty creepy. Let's start with the left eye. It should be closer to the left-hand side than the center. So I'll try 150. And it should also be closer to the top. So I'll try 150 for y as well. And they should be small, perfect circles. So I'll try 30, 30. Okay. I don't see my eye yet. What's wrong? Ah, here's the issue. Oh no's guy, our error buddy, pops up and is telling me that something is wrong with the code. I am missing a semicolon. Where am I missing it? Line 5, the line of code that I just wrote. I forgot my semicolon. Classic mistake. I'll just add it back in. And here we go. We have our eye. Now, you will probably see oh no's a lot when you're getting started because this is your first time writing code. And it takes time to get used to the syntax, making sure you're spelling things right and using the right parentheses and always putting that semicolon there. So
So I wanted to pause the video for a quick second because I want to show you my coolest, what I think is the coolest feature of this. And that is, though it looks like it's just a video and the girl's talking on it and doing it, when we pause the video, we can interact with this. So if I want to change the number, you see that I just went way up high. If I want to make it like 250, it can be down low. If I want to make it a lot bigger, let's make it 100. Oh, 1,000, I didn't mean to do that. If we want to make it taller, we can make it like 300. If we want to play with the mouth, we can make it 10, or we can make it go way up. So let's make it be like 50. So the point is you can play with all of these numbers and see what it does on the right side. And I think sometimes that's one of the best ways to learn, is just to click and try stuff and see what happens. When you click play again, it just goes as if nothing ever happened, as you'll see right now.
Or if you see him a lot, you'll get used to it. All right, now finally, this is not a cyclops, so we need one more eye. Since our next eye is pretty similar to our left eye, I'm just going to copy this line of code and paste it, and then move the X, and there you go, beautiful. My face is finished, and it might be a little bit hungry too. Well, now you're going to try drawing some circles with code yourself.
Okay, and so then it goes quick tip number scrubbing. And this just shows, it says in the last talk through you learned how to use the number scrubber to quickly try out different numbers. Since you can't see the way the cursor moves to change the number scrubber in the talk through, here's a GIF that shows the motion. So you see here, you just click on the number and these arrows pop out above the number, and then you drag it to the right if you want the number to be bigger, you drag it to the left if you want the number to be smaller. All right, now let's move on to our challenge, and this is the last part I'm going to share with you. So it says in this challenge you'll draw a snowman using the ellipse command. Start off by making a circle for the bottom with the ellipse command. This should be the first ellipse command in your program. We suggested some good values for the ellipse command in the hint code, but you can change those numbers around as long as the bottom of the snowman is a circle near the bottom of the canvas and it's not too small. Okay, well, I like to be efficient. So I'm just going to do ellipse, open, close, semicolon. That's the bottom. Ellipse, open, close, semicolon. That's going to be the middle. And ellipse, open, close, semicolon will be the top, the head. So let's start with the bottom. The first thing is X. We know that X goes from 0 to 400. So we want it in the middle. We want our snowman in the middle. So let's do 200. And then Y again goes from 0 to 400 down. So we want it to be closer to the bottom. So let's do 300. And then we want it pretty big. Let's try 300 and 300 for the height and the width. All right. And and it's mad at me right now because I did these ahead of time. All right, so much for being efficient. We'll go back to those. Let's look what it says here. It says you might not be able to fit all of your snowmen on the canvas if you make the first ellipse for the bottom of the snowman that big. So you see here it kind of came off the bottom. So let's bring this down a little bit. Let's try 200 and 200. It's still telling me it's a little too big. So maybe let's do maybe 150 and 150. Let's see if it's happy with that. Yes, good job. Ready for more. Okay, so we'll go to my next thing that I had already typed originally, but apparently I'm not allowed to do that. Okay, still our X is in the middle. Our snowman's going to go straight up the middle. So we're going to keep X at 200, but our Y, 0 to 500, we were at 300 for the bottom. We want to come up a little bit. Let's try 200. And then 150 and 150, we're going to bring that a little bit smaller. Let's try 120 and 120. Let's see if that's okay. Yes, he was good with that. So now we move on to the next one. So again, ellipse, open, close, semicolon. We still want the X in the middle, 0 to 400. So we're picking 200, but now we want to go higher. The bottom was 300 for Y, then we went 200. So let's go 100 and see what happens. And it was 120 and 120. Let's try 100 and 100. Okay, so this is telling me the third ellipse seems too far up. They want me to bring it down. So that's my Y. So 0 to 400, we're at 100. If I want to come down a little bit, let's try 120 maybe. And sure enough, they're happy with that. Congratulations. And that is the end of the challenge. So now that you see how it works, I encourage you to come on to khanacademy.org, go to the coding section for Hour of Code, and come play with it. You see how they guide you around. You can pause the videos, play with it. It really genuinely, sincerely is a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing this. All right, with that said, there's nothing else for me to show you. I hope that you go and try this yourself. I hope you have fun with it. I hope you tell your family about it and make all kinds of connections. And most importantly, I hope you have a good time coding. Happy mathing!